All right, welcome to Delayed Offside, folks. I'm your host with the most today. It's not Baron. He's dealing with a bunch of shit, literally.
He's having some plumbing issues.
Yeah, and you know what? We don't need to deal with his shit today. So I apologize for the language.
I always thought he was a piss poor host anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, guys. Clean it up.
Oh, you know, it's this always happens to the odd man out whenever someone's like, oh, they're not here today. This is going to be the best
Gotta
episode.
get ribbed.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, one of the OGs of Delayed Offside is out. He said he's got plumbing issues. They got worse, and he's pissed right off. So he did give us his prediction, which we'll get to later. But we're going to cover things like the Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning. What's that going to look like? Can Patrick Maroon be one of the players that has gotten a back-to-back-to-back Stanley Cup? All this and more on Delayed Offside. All right, welcome back to Delayed Offside, and lots has happened since our last episode. We have seen the Montreal Canadiens eliminating the Vegas Golden Knights in 6 games, which was a surprise here to a number of people because it's almost a given that, you know, Vegas is really good, and a lot of people were predicting that it was either going to be Vegas or the Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup Finals on the Western Front. And, you know, there was a lot of trash talk about the northern teams in the NHL and how they were the weaker team. So before we get into this preview, I would like to ask your guys' perspectives about what you think about the North Division and its impact on this year's playoffs so far.
Honestly, I think it's the best division in hockey. It's the most fun. It's the one that's the most engaging. You know, I would watch games way more of teams that I would never normally watch, like on like a regular like Tuesday night or something. I'd be like, oh, you know, Ottawa's playing Toronto. Normally I would be like, who cares? But now I'm like, well, you know, with Calgary being in the mix, I was like, okay, how does this affect the Flames' position? And I would be more engaged. And honestly, I hope they go back with it next year or something. Or
they're not.
You know,
they already said that they're not.
But if Gary Bettman listens to the show, which I'm sure he does, then he has a change of heart. Maybe he'll be visited by 3 Canadian ghosts in the middle of the night in July, and then he'll make his change of heart and he'll do it up again.
You know, we were always arguing that the North Division was not the weakest, even though most pundits out there were saying that it was. And I think the reason for that was because you looked at the teams in the North Division and none of them really seemed like legit Stanley Cup contenders. Not that they weren't good teams, but just from past history, they hadn't made it that far either. And, you know, the regular season standings, maybe they weren't as good, some of the teams. But the thing with the North Division, I think, was there was just such parity, more so than in the other divisions. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't think Calgary was a bad team. I think they you know, they were a mediocre team. I
take that back.
They were you know, they were not an easy team. Even the Ottawa Senators, who everyone thought would be this lowly like walk-over team, except for against the Edmonton Oilers, they put up a really good fight against all the other teams. Whereas if you look at you know, a division like the West, I mean, yeah, you had powerhouses like Colorado and Vegas, but you had a lot of weak teams, right? Anaheim, San Jose, LA, Arizona. You know, these teams have missed the playoffs in recent years and have been among the bottom feeders of the league. And so you have, you know, it's easy for Colorado and Vegas to look like the best teams in the world when they have these teams that they're feeding on, right? I don't think you had that in the North Division. So, you know, like I said, I think just because they didn't have the, you know, those teams that were coming in, everyone was like, they're going to win the cup for sure. I think that's why everyone was saying they're weak. But, you know, Montreal proved that it was a very competitive league and the teams in the North were good enough to make it to the cup final. And so I want to thank the Habs.
Yeah.
But no, I do want to thank the Habs for beating Vegas and and at least making me feel better as a Leafs fan that, we were at least a competitive team to take the team that's gone to the Cup final to Game 7. So at least I feel a little bit better as a fan, a little bit. Still really pissed off and disappointed, but a little bit better. So thank you, Habs, for doing that. Good luck in the final.
Whatever helps you get through the night, my man.
Just got to look at any positive possible, man. It's like, hey, okay, all right, all the Leafs needed was one more goal, and per chance, there's a chance they could be in the Cup final and not the Habs. I mean, it's not a given that they would for sure beat Winnipeg or Vegas, but it could happen. And so the fact that they were the only team to take Montreal to Game 7 and gave them probably the toughest battle of any of those other teams, it's a legit possibility that could have happened. So it makes me feel a little bit better, and just better about the North Division as a whole. And really all of us should feel better about the teams that we cheer for, that it was such a tight division.
Yeah. And then we look at the other side, the east side of the bracket, and we've got a really tough battle that ensued between the New York Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, that last game, again, Vasilevsky showed up Game 7 style and shut the door. Shutout. So how close do you think the Islanders are to breaking the precipice and making their visit to the Stanley Cup playoffs? Or is their window over? Like, is it closed?
Like the Stanley Cup final, you mean?
Yeah.
I think they have a good shot. Next year, they have a great coach. They have a great team, and Barzal's still young. He's their best player. And I think, I don't think they're a cap team. So I still think they got room to add. So I definitely think they're in the mix. Definitely can't throw them out next year.
Yeah, and like most of their stud players, they're the players they build around are still under contract. They don't have a lot of UFAs, RFAs, other than like the guys they picked up at free agency. So, there's really no reason to think that they couldn't take this back to the Final Four again for the third time in a row, perhaps.
Right. So now, leading into the Stanley Cup final, which starts tomorrow night or tonight, whenever this podcast gets released, Monday night, we'll have Game 1 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens. And as we see here, we've got a nice little graphic that Pilon has created again. And we take a look here, and we've got the comparisons of playoff stats between the Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning. 5-on-5 goals for per 60. You've got the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're an offensive juggernaut. And then 5-on-5 goals against, pretty close, 3rd and 5th. And then 5-on-5 expected goals for, a useless stat. We'll skip that one. Play percentage. The power play percentage we have here. Obviously, Tampa has a very respectable 37, which is very close to 40 and unrealistic with longevity, but they fire on all cylinders. And we've got the 20% rate with the Canadiens, which is actually really respectable in its own right. And then the PK. Man, the Canadiens have the best power penalty kill in the league. And, it's going to be interesting, too, because we're seeing two elite goaltenders going up against each other. Pilon, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, you guys like to tease me that I once said in an episode a while ago that Price was no longer elite. And he's made me eat my words. I mean, I was very justified in saying that because the past 4 regular seasons, he's had a save percentage of .907 average. So that's a little below average that you want your starting goaltender to be. However, he has proven in both last playoffs and this playoffs that he can become that elite goaltender when it matters most in the playoffs. For whatever reason, whether it's he just takes his play to an extra level, or perhaps the defenders in front of him are able to do a bit more with the playoff rules in slowing down the opposition, which helps him out. whatever case it might be, he's a completely different player once playoffs hit. So yes, I will eat my words in that he's not an elite goaltender anymore. He is when it matters the most, which is, I guess, not regular season, but in the playoffs. And then I guess I'll also have to say, I didn't have him as my starter on the Canadian Olympics roster. I did have him on that team. So it wasn't like I was saying he was a terrible goalie or anything like that. But now he is my starter for Team Canada. So there you go.
Perfect. So now, after that breakdown, what are your guys' predictions for this series between the Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Stanley Cup final?
All right. Well, I'm going to break this up into offense, defense, and goaltending before I give my final prediction. So offense, I'll give the edge to Tampa. They have the 5th best offense at 5-on-5 in these playoffs and the 2nd best power play, which we saw in those graphics. 4 of the top point getters in these playoffs are all in the Lightning. That's Kucherov, Point, Killorn, Stamkos, and Hedman is in the top 10 as well. Montreal, on the other hand, I've been saying this all year. They have great scoring depth in that all the way down from the first line to the 4th line. They have, scoring potential on every line, but they don't have a lot of elite point producers. And the only guy who's in the top 10 in points is Toffoli, and there's none in the top 10 in goals in these playoffs. I think Tampa gets the edge there on offense. On defense, I have to give it to Montreal. This team has done a fantastic job at shutting down their opponents' superstars, right? You look at what they did against Toronto. Matthews and Marner were basically invisible. Then Ehlers and Wheeler, same thing. Then Stone and Pacioretty, same thing. Their top guys cannot get it done. Danault is an amazing shutdown centerman. Weber's playing amazing. And then obviously you have Carey Price in the back end with, if anything is able to get through to him. And we saw that they have the top ranked penalty kill, an insane, almost 94% on the power or on the penalty kill. That's nuts. Tampa's a very good defensive team as well. I'm not going to take that away from them. We saw what they can do. They shut out New York 1-0 in the clinching game last game. So they can play that defensive game as well, but I think Montreal's a touch better on that front. So I give the edge to Montreal in defense. So then it comes down to goaltending for me. And this really is pitting the 2 best goalies of these playoffs against one another. But I give the slight edge to Vasilevsky. He is the league leader in save percentage in these playoffs with .936. Price is only slightly behind him at .934. But the difference is Vasilevsky has got that save percentage behind a weaker defense. Not a huge disparity in defense, but still a weaker defense. His 22.8 goals saved above expected is quite a bit more than Carey Price's 12.1. 22.8, 12.1. That is saving a lot of goals for Tampa Bay. And so I'm going to give them the slight edge there. And then having all said all that, I'm going to give Tampa the edge on this one. I think it's going to be a dogfight. Montreal has earned my respect. They are playing terrific team defense, great forechecking, hard hitting. It's going to take the Lightning and everything they've got to beat them. But at the end of the day, I think Tampa is just too stacked a team as long as they're able to stay healthy, which has been an issue against these Habs in these playoffs. So we'll see what happens there. But if they're able to stay healthy against these Habs, I think they should have enough to beat them. I'm going to take them in 6.
Sanjay.
All right. So for me, I think one of the big things that this series is going to come down to, we talked about it all playoffs, is reffing. Tampa Bay has a lot of skill up front, a lot of very skilled forwards, but they're quite small. You look at some of their players, they're not like, Eric Stahls or, like large forward, like offensive.
Well, they have some, but you're right. They're like
they're not
big
like
boys.
Messi.
The big boys are little boys. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And they do have some big boys on the team, but they're not the ones that they're counting on day in and day out. And you look at Montreal's back end, and that is a mean, vicious back end. Shea Weber's back there, and he's a beast. And if the refs call the series like they did against Vegas, that favors Montreal. But if all the media scrutiny and everything that's going on forces the NHL to be like, look, guys, we're going to have to call this by the rule book and call it like the regular season. And if they do that, Tampa Bay favors them. Look at that power play, 37.7%. That's insane. Like, if you did that in a video game, I would be like, okay, like I'm kind of impressed. That would be hard to do, but you do that in real life, like, damn, that's quite impressive against other NHL players. So, so that power play, you don't want to give them a lot of power plays. And so, the special teams factor there, Tampa Bay has the edge. So it'll be interesting to see. And another thing that I'm going to factor in is playing games in Montreal. This is the first Stanley Cup final in 30 years, pretty much, like since 1993. Or is it 1993? Patrick Waugh, greatest goalie of all time, won a second Stanley Cup. Just got to get that in there.
We'll get into that debate some other time.
Yeah, he beat some guy named Wayne Gretzky in the final. It's kind of hard to do. But you're playing in Montreal. It's not the Forum, it's the Bell Center, so it's a little bit different, but it's still in Montreal in the Stanley Cup Finals. And I'll tell you a little story. I know like Tampa Bay's been there, done that, but Peter Marr, he's the voice of the Calgary Flames for many years since they started in Calgary. And he told a story how in '86, Montreal held this dinner and all their former greats went to it. They had like Maurice Richard, Henri Richard, Guy Lafleur, Terry Sawchuk, like all these like old greats, Ken Dryden of Montreal. And he said the entire Calgary Flames roster was just in awe at the dinner. He said like players like Lanny McDonald, they couldn't even eat. They were just looking around being like, I can't believe I'm in the company of such elite legends and such talent. And it affected them. They lost that series quite easily in 5. And I think there is something to be said about playing Montreal in a Stanley Cup final. This is the most illustrious franchise in hockey. It's like playing the Yankees in the World Series or playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. This is the franchise. Like, they got how many Stanley Cups? 23, 24. Like, it's insane. And I don't think you can discount that. This crowd's going to be hungry. They haven't, you saw them outside the Bell Center. They're setting off fireworks. It was nuts. It was bedlam out there. And just imagine inside the Bell Center, Game 3, when the series shifts to Montreal. Tampa Bay has never experienced this before. And if they have, it's been a long, long time. And I think that's going to factor into the series. And, you can throw all the analytics out the window and give Montreal the cup. And I'm saying 5 games. I'm saying this is going to be a relatively short series. And I think Montreal is going to come out like they're going to be buzzing. And I think they're going to take this in 5. I don't know like what it is. I just feel it. And I've jumped aboard the hype train of Montreal. And I think they're going to take this in 5.
Is Montreal able to fill the arena?
That I don't know if they're extending special circumstances or what. But even if it's like half full or quarter full, it's going to sound like 30,000 people in there. It's going to be insane. I can't wait to see it.
Well, I'll look it up while Adam gives his prediction.
Yeah. So Barron texted me his prediction. And he says, Tampa in 6.
Oh, same with me. See,
and he says, simply put, this goddamn piping was done incorrectly in my house. Flooding in the basement. It's up to my ankles. And there's shit everywhere. I'm just kidding.
Poor Barron. Oh, no, the other plumbing, sorry.
Yeah, you know what? This is going to be our highlight segment. But Barron had said Tampa in 6. For myself, it's tough. You guys raised some really good points. And, it's also a really intimidating thing. And I agree with you, Sanjay, to go into, history, like a really historic environment. Like you said, it's not the Bell Center, but it's or is it the Bell Center? Is the Forum?
Yeah, it's the Bell Center. Yeah.
It is the Bell Center. The Forum was the old one.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Adam. No. And it's just that atmosphere is one that fans want to go and be a part of. It's something that, when we talk about where is a place we want to go and watch a hockey game, that's going to be at least probably top 3 on all of our lists, right? Mm-hmm. And it's simply because of atmosphere. Now, who do I think is going to win? I take a look at the rosters and I'm like, what do they have? what do they have? And, size at this point hasn't really mattered that much. Look at the X factor that has come out of Cole Caulfield this playoff with the Montreal Canadiens. He's small, but my God, he has been a giant killer. And he has come through with flying colors, and he's terrifying. You see Danault bringing him pizza and post conferences. You see him talking about how he's like idolizing and trying to do it for the older guys. And Danault's got his arm around him. He's like, "You're a big part of this too, man." And like, it's touching. You can see like they are a tight team. And then you bring in veterans that have done it before. In Corey Perry, Eric Stahl. Sure, it was years and years and years ago. But look at the price that, no pun intended, that Perry has paid. Like, he's cut up his face. He wants to win. Stahl wants to win. I am not ever going to discount, Shea Weber probably wants that more than anyone on that team, along with Carey Price. It's going to be interesting. Tyler Toffoli, right? He's won Stanley Cups. They've got experience on that team that could send them over the edge. That being said, pretty much all of the Tampa Bay Lightning have won it, and it was last year. And they may have the single greatest X factor in Patrick Maroon. He is just that monkey's paw that you put in your bag and keep it there. You don't wash it, right? He's won it with St. Louis. Then he won it with Tampa. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he wins it with Tampa again. And it's simply because like he's just a lucky man. But who am I going to pick? This is difficult. I'm saying it's going to 7 games. And I'm going to say that this is the year that we see Carey Price hoist the cup.
Ooh. Yes. You're with me. So we got 2-on-2.
Says the man who said they were going to get swept by Vegas. They've
there was
turned
a pattern.
You around.
There was a pattern. It was a conspiracy. It was a conspiracy. Oh, my God. All right, let's see what else we have on the docket here. Yeah, this is interesting. Montreal has a chance to be the first Canadian Stanley Cup championship team since 1993.
Okay.
Since that time, which Canadian franchise has been the most successful and which has been the least successful?
Oh, without a doubt, Vancouver's been the most successful, and that pains me to say as a Flames fan, but they make the Cup Finals in 94. They're routinely making it past the first round since that time. They make the Cup Finals in 2010 or 2011. They win a President's Trophy. They have many players that play on the team that'll be in the Hall of Fame, like the Sedins, Luongo. They won, I think, a Hart Trophy and Art Ross. It's without a doubt, it's got to be Vancouver.
Yeah, I agree. It's Vancouver, and you're right, Sanjay. It's not even close. For all the reasons you already listed, the regular season success, you already mentioned the President's Trophy. They're the only Canadian franchise to have won a President's Trophy in that time span. Plus, first in their division 7 times since then.
Oh, wow.
Playoff success, best winning percentage in the playoffs among all the teams. And you already mentioned the 2 Cup final appearances, which is the most by any Canadian franchise. It's the Canucks.
Yeah, and I would agree. I want to say Edmonton, but it's for the wrong reasons. It's for, first round draft picks, first overall.
You guys got that on lockdown, man.
I remember when we got drawn for the McDavid draft, I was holding Atticus. I think he was a little guy at that point, and I was like, yeah, and he started crying. But that was one of the biggest victories in the past, 20 years in Oilers history. But yeah, Vancouver for sure. But you also can't discount the success that the Ottawa Senators had early on in that time frame as well. With the Alfredson era, Jason Spezza, they were a force to be reckoned with when Carlson was there, and then the whole dumpster fire happened, and that really swept them under the rug. But it goes without saying they were really successful, and they were 1 game away from going to the Stanley Cup final. Right.
Well, and they went to the Cup final in 07 as well. Yeah. And they've been to the conference final 3 times, including that 07 run. So
So,
No, I would say they're probably number 2.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But it's Vancouver, and then down there's Ottawa, and like I think maybe Montreal's up in there too, and then down, and then we get to like the rest of us.
And this leads perfectly into the second part of that question, which is who has been the least successful NHL franchise?
I'm gonna say I'm not gonna include Winnipeg because they've only been there for half the time, and I mean they did make a Western Conference final, so hats off to them. I'm gonna go with Edmonton, and I know you guys are gonna be like, "Oh, you of course you choose Edmonton," but my reason is that after their Cup run in 07 or 06, 06, they didn't make the playoffs or win another playoff round until like recently. Yeah, and it took like winning like multiple first overall draft picks, getting generational talent. Generational talent on there, but I don't think it'll last very long of them being at the bottom. But I have Edmonton for right now.
I'm going to agree twice on this one with Sanjay. Number one, I'm going to skip Winnipeg because it's just not really fair to include them. It took them a while to get that program up and running when they came back, and leading up to the time they were leaving, obviously they were having financial difficulties and whatever. So they were a very competitive team. So I'm just going to skip them entirely. And then I am going to agree it is the Edmonton Oilers. When it comes to the playoffs, the winning percentage is actually not too terrible. It's better than Winnipeg and Calgary's at least. And they did have that one magical run in 06. But that's the only time that they made it to the Final Four in the playoffs. So again, in terms of playoffs, not great, but not the worst of the bunch. But it's the regular season that they really set themselves apart from the rest of the Canadian franchises. They have the worst regular season win percentage of all Canadian teams over that time, including Winnipeg. And they're the only team to finish last in the league twice since that time. They've also finished last in their conference a separate 2 times and last in their division another 2. So they're always at the bottom quite a bit. So that's why they got so many draft picks there, Adam.
How much research did you do for this question? Because you're pulling up stats that I'm like,
I looked into it because I thought it was pretty fun. So yeah, I was looking into all the records since that.
And I'm just gonna go, and I do agree. So for all you haters that want to comment and be like, "You're a moron, Adam," go ahead, post it. But here's the team that I think is the least successful in that time, and it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, have you ever? I knew
you would pick them.
Have you ever seen a kid take daddy's credit card and be like, "Oh man, look at this, dad's credit card. I'm gonna go spend it all, and he's not gonna find out." While they get to the store, which is the show, the playoffs, right? They do all this spending like some moronic kid that doesn't think it shows up on the goddamn bill. And all of a sudden, dad comes in with the paddle, a cattle prod, you name it. And he's like, "You're not going anywhere." And he's at the door. He's at the precipice. He is about to win a round. And then his dad, grounds him, takes away the PlayStation, kicks his ass a little maybe, right? And he's eliminated over and over and over.
What was the point of that story? I thought you were going to have some
fun with it. I was like, I just want to go on
so much money, and then when it's got like this is where I thought your story was going, where like before the cap they spent tons and tons of money, and then is that what you were saying? Then they took it away, and then
no, I just thought I was
because they couldn't spend the money.
I was just comparing it to you're killing the joke, Ryan.
I'm just trying to get the analogy.
Yeah, it's like
the credit card is what for the Maple Leafs?
The success.
Oh, okay. It's not the budget or the cap or whatever.
I thought it was their payroll because they were like always at the top of the payroll.
Yeah. And then the ultimately, the failure of not being able to cover that up. Daddy finding out.
So daddy took the success away.
Yeah.
And who's daddy? God?
No, let's see. Who was the
Gary Bettman?
let's see. Who was
the Leafs are the only Canadian team since 1993, barring the Jets, since 1993 not to make the Cup final.
Yeah. Well, and who was their GM?
John Ferguson Jr.
No, predating.
Burke?
No,
predating John Ferguson Jr.
No, it was
Quinn, or after him.
Was it Gillis? No.
Which time frame?
Dr. Google.
He got fired, and then I think they brought in Burke.
Oh, I thought Burke was right after John Ferguson Jr.
Was
Oh no, they brought in brought in who's that interim GM? Clifford. Fletcher.
No.
Or,
was it Cliff Fletcher?
Cliff Fletcher. There we go. Yeah. They brought him in for like one off season. He made like that terrible Jeff Finger trade.
But who was that? Who was before him?
John Ferguson Jr.
Who was before John Ferguson Jr.?
It would have been Pat Quinn. Yeah.
And then Ken Dryden. And then before him, Bill Waters was intern, but Cliff Fletcher was from 91 to 97.
Okay, who was after
Fletcher?
He's
the one who pulled off that Gilmore trade.
Who was after Fletcher?
After Fletcher was Ken Dryden.
Then?
Pat Quinn.
Then? And this is like
Ferguson Jr. And then it was Brian Burke.
Yeah.
Okay.
What Sanjay said is fair that
though?
the Leafs are the only team who have not made the Cup final other than Winnipeg. That's fair. And I mean, they've had some very embarrassing losses along the way in storylines as well. I would say the only reason I would put them ahead of Edmonton is the fact that team in the 90s, early 2000s was really good. And that's really the difference for me, in that they made 3 semifinal appearances since 93. All in the 90s, 2000s. So they did have playoff success before the salary cap. That team was was pretty good in the playoffs back then. And then obviously this latest iteration, not the greatest in the playoffs, but regular season success has extended for 5 years now. So to me, it boosts them a little higher rather than, that one magical Edmonton run. They had a little more consistency, but it's really nothing to brag about. So to be honest, none of us can really brag about our teams, right? Like it's arguing about like the shittiest franchises since 93. Like, okay, which one's the cleanest of the shit? And it's obviously not Barron's pipes.
I was gonna say you two keep arguing and just ignore Calgary and the fact that since 93, they've only made it out of the first round twice. So you guys keep fighting. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Edmonton and Toronto, they suck. Just ignore Calgary. Just ignore it.
You're right there with us, Sanjay. Okay? You're right in the shit with us.
Yeah. The puck was in 04, damn it.
All right. So now we've got the Oilers jersey is going to be dark blue. We touched dark blue and orange. It's their alternate right now. Now, what, in your guys' opinion, has been the best jersey set of all time?
I'm going to just step back and let you guys do this one, because you guys are super into jerseys and I'm really not. I don't get into it as much as you guys do. So you guys would know the sets and everything. So I'm going to skip this one and let you guys go at it.
All right. Well, I'm clearly biased, but I'm going to obviously go with a Flames set because they have the nicest symbol in the league, no question. And this might be a little controversial among Flames fans, but I'm going to go with the 05-06. That was the year after the lockout. So they have the red. They finally brought the red back. Sea of Red, the Black Sea, the one that everyone remembers Iggy tearing up the 04 playoffs in. Then you have the underrated white with the Red Sea. But the thing that puts it over the top is this kit also included as the alternate Blasty, the horse head. The original one with the red sleeves, the black background and the Blasty on it. So that's 3 quality jerseys that are just like impeccable. And I wish the Flames had gone to the 04 route instead of going all the way back to 89 with their new set. I still think it's beautiful. And I think 89, obviously I can see why they went back to those jerseys and they are amazing. But for me, 04 jersey is the best, but I put the one after because it also included the Blasty as the alternate, as the best kit of all time, as the best jersey set of all time.
Right. I don't have the year exactly, but it's when Edmonton.
Sorry, is this the one here? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, man, with the Blasty with the red kipper, and then you have the black you have the black C with the red jersey, and then the white with the red jersey. I mean, those three jerseys. I mean, come on, you can't get any better than that set. Just beauty.
Yeah, and if you paused it long enough, you could get Ryan Pilon's MasterCard information.
His eBay login is
exactly.
up 97.
Closet Habs fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My relatives wish they're trying to convert me back to the origins of the Pilon family.
Ugh. I like how you said that with a French accent.
The
Pilon.
Ryan Pilon.
Think about so you said your dad is a Leafs fan?
Yeah. So his dad and sister and brother are all Habs fans because Pilon is French. We're a French family. Don't speak a lick of it, but we are, French origin. But dad, because all of his friends, they lived near Cornwall, Ontario, and all his friends were Leaf fans. He became a Leafs fan. So he was the black sheep of the family.
Poor guy, man. Like, think about the shit he's taken throughout the years. If you think it's bad,
and like the shit he's put me through, like if he stayed the same as the rest of his family and then didn't brainwash me as a child to be a Leafs fan, I could be a Habs fan right now and be loving life. And I could be just shit talking you guys because my team's in the final. And instead I am in anguish.
Yeah, well, rookie tabernacle, as they say. All right, Adam, what's your kit? What's your
so for me, it's a little more recent. It was when the Oilers switched to the blue shoulder pads and the orange jerseys. At that point, what's that?
Do you know the year?
I don't. Okay. I want to say it would have been about 4 years ago.
Okay.
It was when Orange is the New Black was still really popular. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, let's say. And anyways, they had the orange jersey with the blue shoulder pads. And then their alternate was the orange pads and the blue, just like this one, or very similar to this one. And then they had the regular blue shoulder pads with the white.
Is this it?
White jersey. Yeah.
Wow, that's on sale too. $120.
Right. And there's the credit card information.
Thanks, Pilon.
Enjoy, boys. That's my gift to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That to me, I found it gave you a good kind of taste of, great Oilers jerseys. So that's mine. For Barron, he's going to say, the Atlanta Thrashers. It's going to be his favorite. Speaking on behalf of him, he approves of this, most definitely. He loved the T-Bird. I'm having a difficult time lying here.
You know which one I will honestly say, ignoring the Flames, there are a couple other ones because Calgary is so close to my heart, but the Hartford Whalers.
Yes.
How could you go against that one? That one was an all-time beauty.
Or the Quebec Nordiques.
Absolutely, yeah. It seems like if you have a really nice jersey, your franchise is gonna fold. It's this is like one of the greatest jerseys of all time. It's like, we can't get any better than this, so let's just stop now and start again with something else.
Were you a fan of the Thrashers jersey too?
I like some of them. I actually like the red one that said Thrasher, kind of like a soccer jersey. I thought that was kind of neat, kind of different.
Yeah, I also like the Colorado Avalanche's symbol and their jersey, and I think they did a really great job with their reverse retro this year.
Yeah, the reverse retros were pretty sharp.
Yeah,
for sure.
So with those,
what do you guys? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was done.
I was gonna say, what do you guys consider the ugliest jersey of all time? Like the one that you see and you're just like, my goodness, what were they thinking? Like, this is just an utter disgrace. Like,
Well, some of those reverse retro ones were pretty bad, like Detroit's.
That was just boring. Like, they didn't even try.
Yeah, it was just uninspiring, right?
Yeah.
So, but like original jerseys, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Nashville's, the mustard yellow.
Oh, I love that one. I have that one.
Yeah. It's kind of grown on me over the years, but I remember when it first came out, I was like, oh, that's mustard yellow.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I always used to think that Ottawa's was kind of boring to me. But I don't know. I was a kid then.
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the one I like missed the most is the old Anaheim Ducks jersey. I really miss the teal and purple.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that's a good place to kind of jump into. Recently they have released who has been in the finals for each award in award season for the NHL awards, and that was said very poorly by myself. And there have been some winners as well within that. Now I'm going to read a couple categories out, and you let me know who you think should win this. And we're going to start first with the Vezina. Okay, so top goaltender, we've got our finalists in Marc-Andre Fleury for the Golden Knights, Philip Grubauer for the Avalanche, and Andrei Vasilevsky for the Lightning. Who are you guys taking?
I got to take Fleury. Yeah, I thought he just had a tremendous season, and just for just the feel good story of it too, right? Playing the best hockey of his career at such a advanced age, if you will. It'd be nice for him to finally win one, and I think he played good enough hockey to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree too. I thought he kind of really revitalized his career, especially after his agent Alan Walsh had posted that picture of him with the sword through his back. So I thought it was a great way to answer last year's playoffs. Next, we have the Ted Lindsay Award, which is MVP as voted by players. And we've got Sidney Crosby of the Penguins, Austin Matthews by the Maple Leafs, and Connor McDavid from the Oilers.
Oh, definitely Sidney Crosby. Definitely Sidney Crosby.
And McDavid has no respect among the players.
Yeah, no.
So they'll go Crosby for sure.
Yeah. Well, the thing is the North Division has proven to be not that strong.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Well, and you have to be able to play defense, right?
That's true. The North has no defense. Yeah. It's just all offense, run gun show. No, seriously, if it's not McDavid, then the players should not vote on the next collective bargaining agreement because they obviously don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, it's McDavid. He was just in another dimension than any other player in the league this year. We talked about it quite a bit throughout the year. It was, harking back to Gretzky and Lemieux and Yager in those days where there was just such a gap between that top talent and the rest of the league. And that's what you saw this year.
Yeah, it's unanimous. Like, McDavid is far and above better than anyone in that league. Like 105 points in 56 games is insane in this day and age. So I think he runs away with it. And if he doesn't, it's a crime against humanity. Now we've got the Calder Memorial Trophy, which is the best rookie. And in this category, the nominees are Kirill Kaprizov from the Minnesota Wild, Alex Nedeljkovic from the Hurricanes, and Jason Robertson from the Stars. Now, who are you guys taking for this one?
Oh, those are some good options. Like God, how do you say his name? Nedeljkovic. I really thought he could have actually been up for a Vezina. I thought he played that well this year. But I got to give it to Kaprizov. That guy is just must-watch hockey. He led all rookies in points this year. And people were actually talking about the Minnesota Wild, and you never really ever heard anyone talk about Minnesota Wild, right? They were just boring hockey. They've been a good team for quite a while. They seem to always make the playoffs, but just no one really cares because they're just blah. So he added some flash to that team and some excitement. And I would say it has to be Kaprizov.
Yeah, no, I know I sound like a broken record just saying, yeah, I agree. But I agree. Kaprizov, you mentioned it, Minnesota, when was the last time they had a dynamic offensive forward on their team? Like, yeah,
Parise when they first got him, maybe.
Parise, yeah, Koivu for
Gabrick before that, right?
Yeah, right. So it's been a while, but I like to see it. You know, Minnesota is such a vibrant hockey market. You know, they're pretty much like, you know, they're pretty much like a Canadian city in terms of like how much they love their team. They got that rivalry with Winnipeg. I would love to see them have like a reason to cheer, and I would give it to Kaprizov just for that, so that hopefully, you know, they're like, let's be more offensive, Minnesota. Let's be fun. Let's be exciting to watch instead of let's try to win games 2-1. And so for that reason, I'm going with Kaprizov.
Yeah, and I completely agree. He took a boring organization and made it must-watch hockey, and you know, he's created a spark where there really was none. If you saw the Minnesota Wild on against your team, what are you thinking? You're thinking, oh God, this is going to be a boring, slow game. And he made that anything but that this year. And I think that's a huge win. And he's become a household name there really quickly, and super skilled, super talented, and just has done. Yeah. Now I'm tripping over my words.
He's that good.
Is that good? Then we move on to the King Clancy Memorial Trophy, which is the leadership. We have Curtis Gabriel of the Sharks, Pekka Rinne of the Predators, or PK Subban of the New Jersey Devils.
So what's the trophy for? Leadership?
Leadership.
Oh, I thought that was the Mark Messier Award was leadership. Or is this outside of hockey?
Maybe.
No, the Messier Award is for best elbows. So,
yeah, you know what? That might just be. Maybe this is like what the website has,
like charity work and all that type of stuff.
It very well could be.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. And that's
shows us what experts we are. We don't even know what all the words are.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously it should be PK Subban. The guy's a beauty. His social media account is awesome to follow, and he's a ton of fun. And just love the guy. And if it wasn't for his contract, I'd love to have him in Calgary. So PK Subban.
Yeah, it's humanitarian work. It's humanitarian work. Yeah.
Well, he does.
I know he does stuff with the hospital. Like he did a lot of stuff in Montreal, right? And I think he continues to do so. So
yeah.
I'll go PK. I'm not sure what the other guys do. So I've heard lots about PK.
Me too. I'm gonna, jump on that train and make it even more exciting radio. Most gentlemanly. Maybe the most boring award.
This one's already been awarded, but we can talk about what we thought about it.
Now we've got Austin Matthews of the Maple Leafs, Jacob Slavin of the Hurricanes, and Jared Spurgeon of the Wild. You know what, guys? I'm going to start us off. Slavin's going to win this one.
It's a total off the top of my head.
Yeah. I have to say, I was actually surprised Slavin won it, because usually the Lady Byng goes to the guy who is up for the Hart, but isn't going to win the Hart. So like the year before, it was Nathan McKinnon, right? He was up for the Hart, but he didn't win it. And but he was also up for Lady Byng, and he took that home. So I kind of thought this was Austin Matthews' year to win the Lady Byng. So I was a little surprised that
maybe that means Matthews is going to win the Hart.
Ooh, I don't think so. But I guess because he's already won the Rocket, they're like, he's got enough hardware. That's fine. So I was a little surprised about Slavin winning it. I thought it was Matthews to win, but congrats.
Sorry. Yeah. Good.
Seeing a defenseman up for the award. I mean, every time you think of defenseman, they're always taking penalties. It's just part of the gig. And I saw Slavin took one penalty all year, and it was for throwing the puck over the glass. So, I mean, to do that as a defenseman and to be top-notch player on a top-notch team, give him the Lady Byng.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And then we have the Selke Trophy, which is the best defensive forward. Now, in this category, we've got some really good, choices in Barkov from the Panthers, Patrice Bergeron from the Bruins, and Mark Stone of the Golden Knights. Who are you guys picking?
Well, this one was already announced as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Who was it, Adam? Who do you think it was?
It was probably Barkov.
You got it. Nailed her.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah, Sasha Barkov won it.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know or are confused because Ryan said Sasha, Sasha is a domesticity of Alexander. The more you know.
There you go. I was actually always wondering why they called him Sasha. I thought it was like a nickname or something. I had no idea that's what it was.
It is a name for
I
Alexander.
learned something new today.
It's like Bill. It's like Bill for William.
That's why you're a teacher, Adam. You continue to educate me into my 30s.
He's right. And it's the dumbest shit that I
no. You never know. That could come in handy one day.
I honestly was always wondering why they call him Sasha. But like I said, I thought it was like a nickname or like that's just some like people called him that growing up, right? Like my dad's real name is Robert. People call him Bob. Like I thought it was that type of thing. It's
like Jack and John. Exactly. Right. So
there you go.
There we go.
In terms of him winning it, he's a great two-way forward. And he's been touted as one of the best two-way forwards for quite a while. I can't really argue against him winning it. I mean, all three were worthy candidates. And I think there were some worthy candidates who did make it as finalists as well. Like I really thought Joel Pavelski earned a nod with his defensive play this year. But I think he was among the top 10 in votes. So he did get some recognition there. But good job, Sasha.
Yeah, no, I mean, watching the Panthers and looking how that organization improved from pretender to contender this year, he was a big part of that. And his defensive play as a number one center, I mean, he's a truly amazing player, but unfortunately, he doesn't get the love that he should playing in South Florida, playing for the Panthers. If this kid played on Broadway or played for the Jets or played for Vancouver, he would have billboards, he would have advertisements, he would be like the face of the NHL. But he plays in Florida, so people don't recognize him. So I'm glad that at least somebody recognized him to win this award.
Yep. Next is the Masterton, and we know that Oscar Lindblom, I did say it correctly, won that. So we're just going to skip over that one. We're going to go to the Norris, and that is the best defenseman. And our finalists for that are Adam Fox of the Rangers, great name, Victor Hedman of the Lightning, and Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche. Who are you guys taking?
Oh, like I think Cale Makar is the most worthy of the three, but he did miss some time this year. And so I wonder if that's going to factor into the decision at all. I hope it doesn't. I honestly think he was the best defenseman in the league this year. But Adam Fox is right behind him, and he had a fully healthy season. He played tremendously as well, plus on a team that wasn't as talented as Colorado. So I think he could potentially earn the nod, but I'll go with Cale Makar.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Calgary kid, Cale Makar. I'm going to start the rumors that I heard he wants to come to play home in Calgary. I hear these rumors every time as a Flames fan that apparently players want to play where they're from, like Gaudreau and Tkachuk. So why can't I start my own rumor and say Makar wants to play where he's from and he wants to force a trade from Colorado to Calgary because he likes the Rockies up here a little bit better than in Colorado. So I'm saying Makar, and then he immediately goes up to Joe Sakic and say, please trade me back to Calgary.
And you know what? If this guy doesn't win it, we're all going to be saying, dude, where's my car? So
Adam and his puns.
Yeah.
You should start up like another segment, just doing puns like the entire time.
Oh, God, yeah. Losing subscribers right, left, and center. Next is the Hart Memorial Trophy, which is the MVP of the league. And we've got Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews, and obviously the winner, Connor McDavid. Who are you guys taking?
Same reason as the Ted Lindsay, which we already discussed. I'll go with Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
I'll say Austin Matthews because he won the division. He plays in Toronto. Toronto hasn't had a
better goal scorer.
Yeah, better goal scorer. Toronto hasn't had a Hart Trophy winner since 1962, maybe. It's been a while.
I think it was like
Edmonton had one last year.
It's going to stay that way.
I'm going with Austin Matthews.
Oh man. And the last award that's on this list that I found on the
I made him walk away. He's like, as a Leafs fan, even I can't take that answer, you idiot. I don't want to be associated with this production if this is the kind of quality of podcasting you're going to put out every week. So he's gone.
There you go. And the last one is the Jack Adams Award, which is the best coach of the year. And we have Rod Brindamore of the Carolina Hurricanes, Dean Evanson of the Minnesota Wild, and Joel Quenneville of the Florida Panthers.
Well, Rod the Bod won it, I think, already. So
yeah, as well. I and you know what? I think as well he should have. He's been fantastic, and you watch him when he's coaching and in between periods or like after a game. And man, that guy can like pump a group up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't
know.
I
put him on your Team Canada coaching staff.
Yes.
I don't know if they've come up with that or
why not.
Yeah. I mean, he'd be good in the room, right? He's been in the Olympics before. He's coached in the playoffs, so why not?
Yeah, and look at the success he's had with the Carolina Hurricanes over the short period of time he's been there. So yeah. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to add to this episode at all? No?
I think we nailed it.
Well, then with that, you know what? Happy Stanley Cup playoffs and finals this next week. It should be a fun one. You got our predictions. We're not saying it's going to happen. It's called a prediction because we're guessing. So they will not age bad because we don't care. And with that.
Oh, and like and subscribe.
Oh, yes. Please click like and subscribe.
We're almost at 200 followers. Get us there.
Yes. You're at 197. Almost to 200.
We just gained a whole bunch from Quebec because we predicted Montreal's going to win the Stanley Cup, like we've been saying since day one. If this is your first time listening to this episode, at the very beginning, we all were on the Montreal hype bandwagon. Never for a minute doubted them, and we think they're just tremendous.
Oui, bonbon, oui.
If you guys get us to 250, I'll wear a Habs jersey.
Oh, what if we get to 300? Will you get a Habs tattoo?
No.
If they win the Stanley Cup, if the Habs win the Stanley Cup, will you get a Habs tattoo?
No, definitely not. Get us 250. I'll wear a Habs jersey or something.
Perfect.
I think that's a good enough for now.
I'm gonna make some fake YouTube accounts.
Exactly. Start hitting subscribe. Well, thanks for watching Delayed Offside. This has been another beautiful segment, Baronless one, and we shall see you next week. I'm Adam.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Sanjay.
Thanks for watching.
Delayed Offside.